starts off the field, and we are about ready to get underway. Game 2 between the Phillies and the Twins, and it'll go in the books as a rain delay of about an hour and 10 minutes to get this game started. But we are on the verge of Game 2 between the Phillies and the Twins. Dick and Bert with you here at Target Field. Glad you stayed with us as the Twins hope to win a ball game again here tonight, and they hope to get some encouraging signs from their starting pitcher tonight, Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, the big thing for Kyle Gibson here, he needs some early success. Now, he's given up 22 runs in his first 3 innings, and that's too high ERA. That's an 8 ERA in his first 3 innings. Needs to find that consistency. We have seen the good Kyle Gibson over his career as a Twin and the bad, and hopefully he can do exactly what he did in his last start, get deep into the ball game and pitch consistently.
And he'll hope to have some run support tonight. He hopes not to need 14 runs. The Twins scored a season-high 14 runs last night. We'll see whether the lineup can be productive once again here tonight in Game 2. And we'll see if they can put together a few consecutive wins here. Phillies struggling this year like the Twins are. Got off to a good start and have fallen apart over the last month or so. The Twins hoping that their best baseball is still ahead. Pete Mackanin took over for Ryan Sandberg last year, and the Phillies extended him, and he is going through a bit of a learning curve as a major league manager in the middle of a rebuilding process. Here is his Menards batting order: Odubel Herrera, Andres Blanco, Michael Franco, Ryan Howard, Tommy Joseph, Cameron Rupp, Cody Ashe, Freddie Galvis, and Peter Borges.
And they'll be facing Kyle Gibson here, making his 7th start of the year, his first career start against the Phillies. Interleague play, he hasn't really pitched all that well in interleague play. This is his 11th interleague start. He's 2-7 with a 6.11 ERA. The only other time this year he faced a team out of the American League was the Washington Nationals, and that was almost the time that his shoulder started bothering him, so it was not a very good outing.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. We've grown accustomed to seeing this outfield. Grossman, Buxton, and Kepler out there again tonight. Nunez and Escobar left side of the infield. Dozier and Mauer on the right side. Trevor Plouffe, the designated hitter, and Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Herrera, Blanco, and Franco to get things started. Sun peeking through here at Target Field, and we don't think we'll have any more rain for the rest of the evening. First pitch, crack, foul, 1 strike.
Oh, keep an eye on Kyle here as far as ground ball outs. When he's on, he'll get a lot of ground ball outs. 2 double plays turned behind him in his last start against the Yankees.
1 strike to Herrera. Missing the inside corner, 1-1. Carlos Torres behind the plate. Rob Drake at first, Sam Holbrook at second, and Jerry Davis at third.
Yeah, a little bit about Torres. He's from Venezuela. He is the second Venezuelan umpire to umpire a major league game. The other one was Manny Gonzalez. He was the first umpire back on May 17th of 2010. And he did the game between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Miami Marlins. And that's good to see that, you know, even the umpires are coming from all around the world.
1-2 to Herrera. Pulled foul. Phillies struggling offensively this year, but you wouldn't have known it last night. They scored 10 runs, more than they scored in their entire 6-game homestand, and they still lost last night.
Yeah, 0-6 on that homestand. He scored a total of 9 runs.
They've lost 8 straight. Twins hoping to build a winning streak.
Good change up there.
Dribbler, and Gibson, very good fielding pitcher, makes the play.
Well, he did that right there. He barehanded it. He didn't try to put the glove down first. He grabbed it with that right hand, and then all in one motion threw over to Mauer for the quick out. Kind of a swinging bunt right here. Gibson barehanded and a quick first out.
Target throw with Mauer, of course, stretching into fair territory. 1 down, and here is Blanco. Gibson looking for his first win of the year. Crack foul. We've seen the Phillies in attack mode last night. So far again here in the first couple of at bats tonight.
Yeah, that you know, they're up there swinging the bat. They're not going to get cheated. And Gibson, you saw that last fastball pretty straight. Usually at the beginning of the game, that's why he's been hurt early. Doesn't have that good sinker.
Chopper to the right side, and now Gibson will cover to the bag. First it was 1-3, now 3-1 for 2 quick outs. When a team goes through the rebuilding that the Phillies are going through, you expect some of the numbers to be tough, and after a good start, the Phillies have really struggled. But then last night, 4 home runs, 10 runs on the board. Where did that come from? Well, the Twins still ended up winning the ball game, and the Phillies are still, as a team, hitting .227, the worst team batting average in the major league.
You said where'd that come from? Sad to say, it's the Twins pitching staff.
It's okay to ask a question even if you know the answer, isn't it? Down and away a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, Kyle basically a fastball slider type pitcher. He'll change up now and then.
Franco hit one of the home runs last night.
Yeah, the 3-run home run in the 8th inning.
Michael Tonkin had a very good 7th inning. He went out and ran into some immediate trouble in the 8th, gave up 4 runs. And now 3-0 with Ryan Howard on deck.
15 walks, 1 intentional for Kyle Gibson in 33 innings pitched.
See if Gibson can come back from 3-0.
And you know that Franco has the green light if it's a pitch to his liking and he takes a strike away. Kyle's done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Only 3 home runs allowed.
Check swing and a foul, 3-2. Franco upset that he made contact. He was hoping to get to first base via a walk. Turned into a very pleasant evening. After a rain delay of about an hour, 10 minutes, we're underway. Full count to Maikel Franco. And he left it inside, and he ended up walking him anyway.
You know, for Kyle's career, this is his 80th career start and his first 79 career starts in 26 wins. 36 games, he has an ERA of 1.68 and 32 losses, which include 43 games, a 7.58 ERA. So That's the good and the bad that the Twins have seen from Gibson. Just looking for that consistency.
Now Ryan Howard had a difficult night at the plate last night, and hitting just 140 on the year. He does have 10 home runs. Little dribbler. That's a foul ball, says Carlos Torres, and he put himself in perfect position. So we talk about nice plays for players, but sometimes umpires have to make good plays too, and he very quickly angled himself to look up the corner of the plate, up the baseline, to see where that ball was touched.
Yeah, almost another swinging bunt. Watch Torres right there. He jumps out and sees where Suzuki grabs that ball, and he calls it foul.
1 strike. On the ground, a roller to Dozier. And a 15-pitch first inning for Kyle Gibson. A walk does no damage. No score after a half. What the Twins can do. Last night they scored 4 first inning runs, something that teams have done against them plenty of times. The Menard batting order for tonight looking pretty similar to what we had last night. Nunez, Mauer, and Grossman in the first 3 spots. Dozier, Plouffe, Escobar, who was a pinch hitter in the ball game last night, and then Kepler, Suzuki, and Buxton.
And they'll be facing 26-year-old left-hander Adam Morgan, making his 11th start. He's had a tough go as of late. Over his last 7 starts, he's 0-6 with about a 6.5 earned run average.
Nunez hitless in the ball game last night. He did draw a walk. .315 still in the top 10 in the American League in hitting, and he skies one to right in the general direction of Borges.
But both clubs come out swinging early.
1 down. Northland 4 defense for the Phillies. Ashe in left, Herrera in center, Borges in right. Franco, Galvis, Blanco, Joseph, the infielders, and Cameron are up behind the plate. Again today, he does most of the catching. We might see Chuch Ruiz in the series finale tomorrow. You can see the skies have broken up, and we're looking for uninterrupted baseball. 1 pitch, 1 out, and now here's Joe Mauer. Ball 1. Morgan's gone 0-6 in his last 7 starts. Given up a whole bunch of home runs. Just 53 innings now, and he's given up a dozen.
What's wrong with that?
That's too many. That's too many home runs for 53 innings.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, here's a guy that basically a very good slider. That's probably his out pitch, but the fastball clock maybe as high as 94, they say. Mix in a curveball and a changeup.
And lash to left. Mauer with a line drive single.
And they say what his fastball doesn't have a lot of movement. Even that fastball right there, pretty straight. And Joe, as he does so well, takes it to left field.
Tonight's Toyota key stat: most walks since May 20th when Robbie Grossman was called up, and Grossman is leading the league. We've seen the batting average fall below 300.
He walked a couple times in last night's ball game. 1 for 3 with the 2 walks.
Grossman carrying a .432 on base percentage into this game. He takes down and away a ball, and we'll mention it again since it's, of course, he doesn't have enough plate appearances to qualify for leadership. But Altuve leading the American League at .421. Down and in, and now Grossman, as Mauer did, will have a 2-0 count.
Yeah, Robbie Grossman is a right-handed hitter. Now he's a switch hitter, hitting .359, where he has 14 hits in 39 at-bats. 2 of his 5 home runs coming from the right side of the plate.
And a base hit to left. Another 2-0 pitch. Morgan had to come in with it. Mauer was waiting for it, and so was Robbie Grossman, first and second.
Well, Brian Dozier had 3 hits in last night's ball game in the 6th inning. Probably one that I think we really enjoyed watching. That against Oberhoser. You see Brian fighting off some pitches. This is he starts fouling off some pitches. That pitch just missed. Kept pulling the ball, and finally got an off-speed pitch and went the other way. It ends up being a triple for Brian that drove in a run. His first triple of the year. Excuse me, a second triple of the year.
Dozier takes strike 1. He's been really good against left-handers this year, and he's in an RBI spot here right away. Dozier hitting .244 on the year, and the average climbing on a nightly basis. But he's hitting .311 against lefties. To left field, a liner hit to Ashe. 2 away.
Brian hit it right on the button, but it's a line drive out for the second out of the inning.
And that'll get us to Trevor Plouffe. Dozier and Plouffe each came into the game hitting .244. And then the secondary numbers, home runs and runs batted in, you'd have to give Dozier the advantage. 8 home runs to 5, 28 runs batted in to 22. And strike 1.
With the slider for strike 1. Morgan started the season in AAA, got called up late April, making his 11th start.
And down away 1-1.
Tried that backdoor slider. Last year started in AAA. They got called up in June, made 15 starts, 5 wins, 7 losses for the Phillies.
Driven to right field, a base hit. Mauer to third. They're going to wave him around. The throw from Borges is not in time, and everybody will move up with Plouffe going to second. A 2-out hit for Plouffe. 4 straight well-hit balls against Morgan.
Even though this is the National League that the Twins are playing, the coaching staff does a great job of seeing who has a strong arm in the outfield, who maybe has an average type arm. This ball is line drive. Now Joe Mauer's taking off as soon as there's good contact there. And Gene Glenn, knowing that Peter Borges doesn't have the strongest arm, sends him.
Yeah. That ball's got to be cut off, doesn't it?
Yep. And they've got to get the out of Plouffe at second base.
Borges threw, and he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he threw towards home plate right at the cutoff man. But Tommy Joseph wasn't told apparently to cut the ball off by Rupp and didn't do so.
These are the little things that I'm just talking to, Pete Buchanan and also Bob McClure. These are the little things that the Phillies are doing wrong. They're just not playing very well defense.
Well, now on that play, and you've been in the middle of it all, of course, but I mean, the catcher's got to call for the ball to be cut, right? That's the way we did it in high school.
Right.
First baseman doesn't know where the runner is, so
And it wasn't that far over his head. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Joseph could have caught that and got the out, and it's 1-0 rather than men in scoring position with 2 outs.
Escobar takes a strike. He's hitting over 300 against lefties as well as a switch hitter, of course.
Yeah, Plouffe getting the RBI, his 23rd of the year. As Mauer scores.
Inside, 1-1. Escobar delivered a big pinch hit. You score 14 runs, and you hope to not need a big pinch hit in the 8th inning, but it's kind of the way the game evolved last night. Escobar pinch hit for Park, who starts this game on the bench. Chopped foul, 1-2.
Yeah, Escobar, like Grossman, a switch hitter. Escobar's a right-handed hitter, hitting .306, 11 hits in 36 at-bats. And opponents came into this ballgame in his 10 starts for Morgan. Opponents came in hitting .307. Right-handers .302, left-handers .326.
Drill foul, still 1-2.
10 of the 12 home runs he has allowed have been to right-handed hitters, making just his 26th major league start.
Another 1-2. Checked his swing and rolls away. Here comes the runner. Grossman will score. They check swing, and it is strike 3.
I thought he went.
So a strikeout will end the inning, and the Twins get 1 run on 3 singles and leave 2 men in scoring position.
Gibson doesn't have the stats he was looking for at the start of the season, but he's building off what was a terrific start last time out into the 7th inning. We talked to pitching coach Eric Rasmussen earlier today about that. He said, you know what, no question, that's the best he's looked all season. It's the best he's felt after the game. The #1 word that both Paul Molitor and Rasmussen have been trying to hammer home with Kyle Gibson, guys, attack right there, just like that. Attack the zone low, look for ground ball outs tonight. The one thing they don't want to see, the other word they're trying to avoid, the nibble. We've seen too much nibbling, both those guys said, from Kyle Gibson. They want attack, they don't want nibble. We'll see what we get.
Yeah, trust your stuff. That, I mean, that's absolutely right. It's right on the mark, because Kyle's not a strikeout pitcher. He's a ground ball pitcher, sinker, slider. This is a changeup right here.
Drill, foul, 1-2.
And, you know, the game started off well in the 1st inning. 3 ground ball outs. That's Kyle Gibson right there. That's how you get deep into the ball game, having a 15-pitch first inning. Stay away from the multi-run inning. Attack the strike zone. Be aggressive with the fastball.
Breaking ball down and away, 2-2. In Gibson's case, if he can prove to be a strike thrower, he can pick up the aggressiveness of the hitters, and things can move along pretty quickly. What we experienced last night was just the opposite for both sides.
We've seen Kyle, and this is just my thinking on Kyle. You'll see that last pitch. He'll throw that two-seamer in on right-handers, but he does not have control of the fastball down and away. And that's what, I would like to see all our starters have better control of both corners with their fastballs.
Missing low. Now it's 3-2. He had a long count and ended up walking Franco in the first inning.
Yeah, that's a fastball, just kind of a wasted fastball. Now Kyle, he's tall kid, 6'6", about 215 pounds, so he tries to create that good downward plane. He's going to go with a 3-2 slider.
Yeah,
and it's
a
a
good
good
spot. A strikeout to start the second inning. That'll bring up Rupp.
First strikeout for Gibson. Well, this is something that you want to show the other team too, that you'll throw not in a 3-2 situation just the fastball, but good. See the balance right there, then the extension over the top, and a very, very good slider, good location.
One down, and now Rupp. Driven to the right field corner. Kepler watches it go for a game-tying home run. Rupp's 6th of the year. The Phillies, who hit 4 last night, have an early one tonight.
Yeah, Joseph and Rupp hit back-to-back home runs in the 3rd inning off of Tyler Duffy. And Rupp jumping on that first fastball and hitting it the other way. Looked like it hit right off the top of the wall near the flower bed and deflected back to right field. See the high fastball. They're not going to get too many outs up there. Rupp, very solid swing. And right over the wall there.
One apiece now on the first Philly hit. Cody Ashe, the batter.
Ashe picked up 3 hits in last night's ball game.
Up and away, 2-0.
Yeah, Ashe started the season on a disabled list with a strained right oblique. Activated on June 2nd in his 4th season with the Phillies. And this is the nibbling that they were talking about. Too many pitch. Trust your fastball. He's got a good two-seamer on left-handers. Just throw that fastball down and away and hope they hit it to short.
3rd 3-ball count for Gibson.
Like
he
that.
hits the corner.
Sometimes you try to nibble so much you make the game harder than it is.
Gibson waits a little bit as the infield now on a 3-1 count will pull to the right side. And Mauer with a nice backhanded pickup, and there's Gibson to cover the bag again. 2 down. A strikeout, 4 ground ball out so far for Gibson. The Twins flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. You can choose in advance or even the day of the game. So don't plan, flex plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. 2 down, and now Freddie Galvis.
Galvis last night an infield base hit in 4 at-bats in his 5th season with the Phillies.
Down and in, ball 1.
Galvis just 26 years old. Very good hands at short. He did make an error last night, but very solid at short. Kind of struggling from both sides of the plate.
Struggles in the field last night. considered to be a pretty good fielding shortstop, but he didn't make a fielding play and then came up short on a throw later in the same inning.
Yeah, that was just his fourth error of the year. The error last night.
2-1.
Galvis out of Venezuela, signing by the Phillies back in 2006.
Three and one. Phillies want to break their losing streak here because from here they go to San Francisco. And they'll run into the likes of Madison Bumgarner this weekend, Johnny Cueto. 3-1 with 2 out.
Another 3-ball count.
To center, and then knuckles its way out to Buxton, a 2-out single, and that'll bring up Borges.
Yeah, what happens when you fall behind? We kind of saw it with Adam Morgan against Mauer and Grossman. Fall behind 2-0. You come in with a fastball that's hittable. They both got base hits right there. A 3-1 fastball to Galvis, and he lines it into center field. So the importance of working ahead in the count.
And now Borges, been swinging a hot bat for the Phillies as of late, still hitting in the 9th spot. And a pitch up high, ball 1.
That Twin saw Borges when he was with the Angels for 4 seasons. Then he went to the Cardinals for a couple in his first season with the Phillies. Last night, a 2-run home run in the 2nd. He added a single in the 6th and an RBI single in the 8th.
On the ground foul. Look at a player like Borges, and with what the Phillies are going through, and it just doesn't seem like a good fit. You know, he's a good player and he's been around a while, but it doesn't seem to fit the mold of what the Phillies are trying to develop. When the Phillies are good again, Peter Borges will be done playing or playing for somebody else.
He's kind of always been type 4th outfielder type player. Even, I mean, he's kind of chased out of LA because of a guy named Mike Trout.
Right.
You know, when he first came up, boy, they were talking about his speed, his defense. But the lack of hitting sometimes will get you to different ball clubs. Last year with the Cardinals, he hit only 200 in 117 games.
2-1. A bluff toward second by Galvis on the pitch.
It's an area that the Phillies have struggled with. Stolen bases, 31 stolen bases, but they have been caught 23 times.
That's one area where the Twins have not only stolen more bases, but their stolen base percentage is quite a bit better than it was last year.
Yeah, Twins have stolen 47 bases. They have been caught only 15 times.
Last year the Twins stole 70 and were caught 38 times. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. A 15-pitch first inning, but now you can tell this has been a much longer ordeal for Gibson, and he's hoping to get off the field in a tie game, having thrown 23 pitches this inning.
Wow, what a jump.
The runner goes, and the throw not in time.
Boy, he had a great jump right there off of Gibson.
It's the first stolen base off Gibson this year. Just the 2nd try.
Yeah, it's usually pretty quick home, but Galvis just guessed right there, and Suzuki had no chance. So Galvis gets in the scoring position with 2 outs.
And another 3-ball count to Borges with Herrera on deck. Time call. So 6 walks on the year, and Borges has struck out 48 times. His walk to strikeout ratio a third of the major league average. Dribble to the right side. Dozier with a quick flip. Gorgeous. The Phillies tie it up on Rupp's home run, and it's one apiece at the bottom of the second. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. The game got started about an hour and 10 minutes late. That's why we're just moving into the bottom of the second inning, and the catcher Rupp with a game-tying home run. Here's Max Kepler. Breaking ball on the outside corner, a strike. When Kepler was called up, the Twins felt that he was ready to face major league pitching, but also that he would at least hold his own against lefties. He has struggled at 27 at bats, hitting just 148. But he's got a couple of doubles. He's driven in a couple of runs. Finds himself behind here quickly at 0-2. 1-2.
And the only way you're going to get better is to face lefties.
Yeah. Swing and a miss, and Kepler strikes out, one away.
And Morgan picks up his second strikeout.
Good night last night for Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah, what a night.
Nearly hit for the cycle.
Yeah, home run, double, and a single. He drove in 6 runs. That set a career high. And for the 6th time in his career, he had a 4-hit night.
A lot of people thought he should have, or at least had a chance to get a triple on that drive to the left field corner.
If it's in a right field corner, maybe, but not left field. And Kurt Suzuki said, you know what, still play the game.
Right.
I don't want to be Dennis a Menace that just keeps running.
Strike one. Well, you look at the numbers now, especially considering where they were in the first 2 months, and you would have to give Suzuki some all-star consideration when you look at what the other catchers in the American League are hitting. Most of the names that come to mind are hitting in the 2 teens or 220s. And we know there's more to the position than just hitting. But right now you'd have to say Sal Perez, who'll get voted in, Matt Wieters, Russell Martin, and then, you know, Suzuki's right there offensively. One hopper hit to the shortstop, Galvis. Low throw again, this time dug out by Joseph, 2 down.
You know, the first time in last night's game, Galvis, when he threw it low, and then after that he got the ball, you know, up to the head of Joseph over first. But a nice pick right there of Joseph for the 2nd out. Suzuki hit it right on the button.
And now Byron Buxton. Tough night at the plate last night. The Twins want to see more consistent contact. Struck out a couple of times again in the ball game last night.
He did have a sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning. Picked up an RBI, his 8th of the year.
Buxton and a number of other teammates working extra hard on some bunting practice before the game today. And a full scale of bunts too, up the 3rd baseline, up the 1st baseline. The slug bunt was practiced by the likes of Santana and Kepler and Buxton and Santana and who'd I miss? Grossman, I guess, was out there too.
Yeah, that's what a lot of fans may not know, is that some of these guys are out here at 2 or 3 in the afternoon working on different things that would improve their skills. And of course, one of them for Buxton is his speed. So why not at times try to bunt, especially when we've seen Franco. Now there's only 1 strike, and you got Franco playing back behind the 3rd base bag.
So Buxton struggles against lefties, and he asks for time. And they'll stay there, whether it's Franco or Machado, whoever's at 3rd base, they'll stay there unless and until Buxton drops down some bunts in front of them. He has bunted effectively this year toward 1st base, but not toward 3rd base.
All right, now Morgan is behind an account here, 3-1. He threw Mauer and Grossman when he fell behind a fastball. Buxton's got to look fastball. Well, it's a bit high for ball 4.
He looked fastball on 2-0 and got a changeup. He'll take a walk here. He took one of those last night. Well, obviously a base stealing situation.
But if you're a pitcher and you have that number 9 hitter up and you're 3-1, you're not going to try to trick him. He's hitting 9th for a reason. But Buxton and his speed on Morgan's first walk at 1st base.
You know, you say that and you have no idea how much that hurts me, because it brings back terrible memories of my high school career when my high school coach said that.
Why do you
from
think
the dugout?
I talked to you.
He's hitting 9th for a reason.
Wish there was a number 10 spot.
Well, but you expect to hear it from the other dugout. You don't expect to hear it from your own coach. 1-0.
Well, Buxton has 5 stolen bases in 5 attempts. Now Morgan has been.
Oh, that ball thrown away. Buxton will end up at 3rd base. He falls down and will hold up at 2nd.
He slipped on the bag. Sometimes the bag very slippery, and when he made contact with the bag, his feet kind of. He could score from 2nd anyway, but Morgan's been called on 2 balks. The ball got away from Joseph, and right there, stepping on the bag, he slipped.
Yeah, he's lucky he even touched 2nd base. His footwork was all messed up. I thought he was going to do a Ben Revere and do a somersault and continue on to 3rd base.
Yeah, it'll be an error charge to Morgan to allow Buxton to stop at 2nd.
Nunez bounces one up the middle, another 2-out hit, and another run for the Twins. The walk to the number 9 batter, the error, and it leads to a go-ahead run for the Twins.
Yeah, Nunez picking up his 26th RBI, and one thing we have seen, I think, here in the month of June, better 2-out hitting by the Twins.
Couldn't possibly have gotten worse.
No, they were hitting under 200 with men in scoring position and 2 outs, but a big hit right there for Nunez, giving the Twins the lead back.
4 singles and a walk, and a 2-1 lead. Here's Mauer, who got the first hit and scored the first run.
Now keep an eye on Nunez.
And he got a great jump. And Nunez will steal 2nd in part because Galvis didn't hang on to the throw. They might have had a shot at throwing him out.
Well, we have seen Nunez, when he's ready to go, as soon as he's at 1st base, he'll run on the first couple pitches. His 17th stolen base in 21 attempts. Good strong throw by Rupp.
But ask for a better throw.
Escobar's got to be caught right there by Galvis. Trying to maybe apply the tag and catch it at the same time.
Pitch called a ball to Mauer. And now ball 2. To the mound, Ruff. Talked a little bit about the Twins' home run hitting this year, and they're on a pace to hit 176 this year. They're 10th in the American League in home run hitting, and that's not great, but it's been one of the issues for the Twins over the last several years, the inability to hit the ball over the fence. It's been better this year.
I think with first base open right there, that's what Rupp won out to his young left-hander and talked about. You have the established hitter in Joe Mauer. Even though Grossman has good numbers as the right side of the plate, you don't want to make a mistake right here to Joe.
And an inside move. I'm not sure where they thought Nunez might be going. 3-0. Takes a strike. Twins got a 2-out hit in the first inning to score the first run. That came off the bat of Trevor Plouffe. 2-out hit by Nunez, making it 2-1. Now we're trying to deliver another 2-out hit. Lifted to left. Ashe retreating. And still on the outfield grass, makes the catch, and that ends the inning. The 2-out walk to Buxton leads to a go-ahead run for the Twins. On Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. What's yours? Eduardo Nunez's 2-out single, putting the Twins in front 2-1. And now Kyle Gibson hoping to have a more efficient third inning. He'll face the top of the order, Herrera, Blanco, and Franco.
Yeah, 39 pitches for Gibson, only 22 strikes and 17 balls. And first 9 batters he faced, he got 3-ball count on 5 of the 9. So he needs a better job of what Eric Rasmussen and Paul Molitor talked about, attacking the zone.
It's either a cumulus or a cumulonimbus cloud out there.
It's like a big white one to me.
Yeah. But the taller it is, see, that means there's something going on underneath, you know, something maybe severe, but that's beyond the ballpark. But I don't think I'd want to be under it. Here's a fly to left, and Grossman hardly has to move. One down. Twins fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports North and the Twins with you wherever you go. One down quickly in the third, and now Andres Blanco.
Yeah, first fly ball out off of Gibson to go with his 5 ground ball outs and a strikeout.
Out in front, another changeup getting a swing and a miss. Tigers beat the Mariners 5-1. Now Detroit's won 3 in a row, and they're back above the 500 mark. White Sox trying to get to the 500 mark. They've come from behind to take a lead on Boston. 1-1.
Everybody trying to catch Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
Oh man!
Ended up beating the Rays 6-1.
6-1. Cleveland rolling on 6 in a row that they've won. And Kansas City lost to the Mets 4-3.
Good pitch there inside.
Saw somebody write an article, and I thought it was a pretty good article comparing perhaps the Indians this year to the Mets last year with that great starting pitching. And you have to remember that the Mets last year had the biggest offseason trade to get Yoenis Cespedes. And I don't know when the Indians are going to have that flexibility. You would hope so from the ownership standpoint to maybe pick up a big bat. 2-2 to Blanco. Changeup beaten foul.
Yeah, Blanco, 32 years old, from Venezuela, came up to the big leagues with the Royals, spent 3 seasons with the Royals, and he went to the Cubs and the Rangers in his 3rd season with the Phillies.
On the ground up the line to Mauer, foul. Cracked his bat and leave a new one. Phillies sinking like a stone, and the Braves have won 6 straight. So in the National League East, 2 teams not expected to be good teams going in are anchoring the bottom of the division. Braves have fired their manager. McCann got his contract extended after a hot start. 2-2. And flip foul. 50th pitch already for Gibson.
And this is what we have seen with Kyle. Too many pitches, especially, you know, early on.
49 pitches, 29 strikes. And another 2-2 to Blanco. Fly ball right field and deep. Kepler back at the wall. And that's gone. A home run for Blanco. The game is tied, and the Phillies, who came into this game or this series 13th in the National League of home runs, have hit 6 of them against the Twins already.
Yeah, Blanco hitting his 3rd of the year. He fouled off some pitches. And Blanco getting this one. I thought it was just a fly ball. It looked like he got underneath this, but the ball just kept drifting. Kepler went back. I thought he had a shot at it right there, but the ball ended up in the seats.
Franco. After Blanco with 14 extra base hits, half his hit total on the year. 1 strike to Franco. On the ground, Dozier going to a slide and firing across to Mauer. A good play by Dozier, and I don't know how close he came to hitting Escobar with his throw, but a really good play.
Very, very good play. He popped up as soon as he got that ball and did the Nunez throw over to first base. Watch Brian right there go to his right, popped up. Escobar getting out of the way. And maybe taking a page out of Eduardo Nunez. utilizing the turf in front of Joe Mauer. Nice hop and a nice defensive play by Dozier.
Ryan Howard out in front of the off-speed pitch. I suppose it makes perfect sense to do that. The fields now are so perfectly manicured, you're going to get a true bounce. I don't know that maybe at Met Stadium in September when they were playing football games and soccer matches in the infield that you might want to try a throw like that across the diamond. Larry DeVito and his crew did a great job again getting the field covered and uncovered so we could get started.
It's a beautiful field.
You know, we talked about the Twins having the off day, but this field did not have an off day on Monday. They played 4 high school games here. They've had a big concert here, the Zach Brown Band. And you look at it and it looks like it's opening day almost. 1-2 to Howard. And Howard strikes out, and Gibson gives up the tying run to the Phillies on yet another Philly home run. It's 2 apiece.
Third, and it's time for our Sanford Health injury report. Miguel Sano trying to get back from that hamstring injury. A lot of running, a lot of agility drills all week long here at Target Field. And the report from Paul Molitor, positive. He leaves tomorrow down to Rochester, where he'll start his rehab assignment on Friday. He'll start this weekend, guys, as the designated hitter. But Paul Molitor did say he will play multiple positions on this stint. They're looking for at least 15 to 20 at-bats. And Molitor said if all things go well, in 7 to 10 days, Miguel Sano could be back with the Twins. The question is, where will he play? And Molitor left it open. It could be third, it could be first, it could be back in right field, but for now, he'll be the DH this weekend in Rochester.
Well, I don't know who the shortstop is in Rochester, but better watch out.
He's going to play multiple positions.
Yes, he is.
You won't catch, we know that. 2-1 to Grossman. And he may come back as the designated hitter. The primary designated hitter right now, Byung-Ho Park, has been struggling. Grossman takes a strike. Grossman with a single in the first inning, then Dozier, and then Plouffe here in the Twins' third inning. To left, and it's hanging in the air for Ashe. One away. That'll bring up Dozier, who lined to Ashe his first time up in the first inning.
Yeah, the reports that Morgan is a fly ball pitcher. For Brian Dozier, you can see how he is doing in the month of June, hitting at .342 with some hop, picking up some runs, RBIs, and also scoring runs.
And strike one on the outside corner. Up and in, 1-1.
Twins have had 4 fly ball outs, only 1 ground ball out to go with the 2 strikeouts. So almost a reverse of pitchers. Morgan more of a fly ball pitcher.
No foul.
And Gibson, when he is on, ground ball pitcher.
Morgan had shoulder surgery in January of 2014. Gibson happy that shoulder surgery wasn't required when he was on the disabled list with a shoulder ailment this year. 1-2. It's to right center field, and it is down for a hit, and it'll get all the way to the wall, similar to the double that Dozier hit or the triple that he hit last night. A 1-out double here in the 3rd.
Well, usually when you start getting hot like Dozier, we showed you the great numbers in June. You're just not pulling the ball. You're hitting it to all fields. We saw it last night, and here a breaking ball, and he stayed back nicely and then popped the bat right at the last second, and a ball finding the way all the way to the wall out in right center. So Dozier gets his first hit, and this month you can see 15 to left, 5, and now 6 to right.
Here is Plouffe, drove in a run with a single his last time up, hitting it to right field. He pops it up foul, and it is out of play. One strike. Blocked by Rupp. 1-1. Twins with 5 hits, Phillies with 3, but 2 of theirs have gone over the fence.
Yeah, Dick, you mentioned the surgery that Morgan had on that shoulder. He missed all of the 2014 season. Phillies number 3 pick back in 2011 out of the University of Alabama. Born in Tampa, Florida.
There's 4 1/3 innings in his last start, 10 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 home runs. Up and in, and it's 2-1. Last 2 starts before that, though, were okay. But as we've tried to detail for you, the Phillies have really struggled scoring runs, so there's very little margin for error for any of these Philadelphia starting pitchers. On the ground sharply, and now Dozier gets hung up between 2nd and 3rd, and he will be tagged out, and Plouffe is stuck at 1st. Dozier with a base running mistake, 2 down, and Plouffe at 1st for Escobar.
You know, with all the shifts, sometimes you turn around, look over your left shoulder, and you see somebody standing there. You think, well, that's the shortstop. Instead, it's a second baseman. And that ball hit sharply, but you can see where Galvis is, and Brian's first reaction. Uh-oh, and now he's in no man's land. Good run down here by the Phillies. A quick tag of Dozier, and that keeps Plouffe at first base.
2 down, and now Escobar. On a check swing, Escobar was called out with runners at 2nd and 3rd on a pitch in the dirt.
Yeah, that last play going 6-4-5. Fielder's choice.
Popped up short right field, a long run for Borges, and it's the second baseman making the catch, Blanco, in short right field. On to the 4th, tied at 2. Presented by T-Mobile. The Phillies have really fallen off the table in the last month or so. A 6-25 mark. They're not hitting, haven't been pitching, and all of this despite a really good start. They were 22-15 and just a game behind the Nationals about 6 weeks into the season. You see they've fallen down to fourth. The way the Braves are playing and the way the Phillies are playing, they may change places before too long. On to the fourth in a tie game, and Tommy Joseph will lead things off. There's a strike over the inside corner.
Gibson needs a quick inning right here, maybe a 8 or 9 or 10 pitch inning. 57 pitches now for Gibson.
Swing and a miss. The Twins used half of their 8-man bullpen last night. Abad, Presley, Jepson, and Ramirez were not used in the ball game last night. Rasmussen, Paul Molitor would like to get at least 6 on a Gibson here tonight.
You know, way back when there used to be maybe one bench out there that maybe sat 3 or 4 guys. Now they have multiple benches that may not have enough room for all the relievers. Gibson getting Joseph for the second time on sliders. I think 3 straight breaking balls to Joseph, and that one he missed only by 2 feet.
Box tracks presented by Ram.
Strikeout number 3 for Gibson.
And now Rupp, who hit an opposite field home run to tie the game in the second.
Yeah, and he jumped on the first pitch, a high fastball. See how he tries to get him out here.
Swing and a miss.
Went to the slider. Rupp, a big man, 6'2", about 260. 27 years old, 4th season with the Phillies.
5 swings and misses, I think, in this inning so far.
And all on sliders. So if he still has that olive in his palm, yeah. Another slider.
Punch to center, and Buxton streaks in to make a nice running catch. 2 down.
The long strides of Buxton is fun to watch.
I have a feeling in his career he'll cause a lot of smiles from his starting pitchers.
Well, see where he's playing. It's, you know, not real deep, but look at those strides. Wow. Great concentration, great speed.
Inside ball 1. Ashe hit a ground ball to Mauer his first time up.
Yeah, Gibson's thrown 7 pitches, 6 sliders, and then that was the changeup. There's a fastball fouled off. Gibson gave up 2 runs in the first 3 innings, and coming into the ballgame he had an ERA of 8. 16 of the 22 runs he allowed so far in his first 6 starts came in the first 3 innings. After that, he did okay. Good fastball there. From the 4th inning on, an ERA at 3.68. And is there a reason for that? I just think, you know, Kyle's pitching on his 6th day. Sometimes sinker ballers, they're almost too strong at the beginning of the game. Now hopefully that sinker will sink even more and he'll get more ground ball outs.
Mauer with a pickup, but it's a foul ball. Now that young man got a ball flipped to him by Joe Mauer, and he's about 10 rows back. You might catch a foul ball, but you don't expect Joe Mauer to flip you one 10 rows back from the field.
Very nice. Something he will remember forever.
1 and 2 to Ashe. Galvis on deck. Driven to deep right field. And Kepler makes the catch on the warning track. That one stayed in the ballpark. And Gibson ended up having a 1-2-3 fourth inning. Now for today's Lowe's home field advantage, the Twins offense in the last 9 interleague games clicking rather well at a .310 batting average, 6.5 runs per game. And we have another one of these interleague games coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, and that's really pretty good because, you know, Twins haven't faced these pitchers of the Phillies before.
Kepler drives it to center. Herrera back, still going back. And making the catch 400 feet from home plate.
You know, we saw a couple balls get over the head of Herrera in last night's ball game. Maybe playing a little bit deeper here at Target Field because the balls have been carrying. And Herrera went back all the way to the warning track. Kepler jumping on that first pitch, giving it a ride, but to one of the deepest parts of the field. Herrera makes a catch and bangs into the wall for the first out.
That'll get us to Suzuki. Saw Buxton watch the ball into the glove, and you could see Herrera there shifting his vision to the wall as the ball was approaching the glove. Suzuki with a bouncer to short, his first time up. Ball one. See the weird handle and knob of Suzuki's bat. You got a brief glimpse of it there. Very much like a handle of an axe. Driven to right, a base hit. Whatever it's working. I asked Kurt about it today. He says it just feels good. I asked him because some hitters have had a problem with the standard knob of the bat against the base of the hand, and that hamate bone sometimes gets broken. Francisco Cervelli of the Pirates. That's why he's on the disabled list. He says no, it has nothing to do with that, since he doesn't swing hard enough for the knob of the bat. But you can see how unique it is, and it's very much like an axe handle.
Yeah, he said that he first saw it in Oakland in spring training. They had the company brought some bats like that. He thought it was just kind of a I'm not using that thing. He saw it again and he said, I'll try it. Well, maybe he found the bat of the future.
And he's heard of a few players using it late last year. Now there are a few others in baseball that are using it, but it's whatever it is, it's working for Suzuki. There's Buxton. Clearing to bunt, and ball one. Buxton ended up drawing a walk in the second inning. Went to second on an error and scored on Nunez's 2-out hit.
Again, I'm surprised that Franco is not in at least on the grass at third base. Again, a couple times this year that balks have been called on Morgan.
One and 0.
Rob Drake, the first base umpire, keeping an eye on his move to first.
Strike called over the inside corner.
Fastball down and in.
Swing and a miss on the changeup.
Good changeup there. Morgan making his 26th career start. 6 wins, 13 losses, an ERA at 5.26 coming into this ball game.
Just missed the inside corner. Another breaking ball. Nunez on deck. And a base hit rolled through the left side. Buxton with a base hit. And he's been on base twice here tonight. First and second, one down. That'll get us to Nunez, but first, our Carsoup.com trivia question. Who holds the major league record for career RBI by a player born in Hawaii? Here is Nunez. I think I know the answer, but I've been wrong before.
No, I can't believe that.
Nunez bounced an RBI single up the middle, scoring from Buxton from second base his last time up. Down low, ball one. Seven hits for the Twins, first time through the batting order. And one very costly walk issued by Morgan. At the knees, 1-1. One and one. Driven to right field. Borges over to the gap. And he'll make the catch for out number 2. That'll bring up Mauer. Nunez hit the ball fairly hard, but within Borges's range. And now Mauer 1 for 2. A single to left and a fly ball to left.
We saw this 3 or 4 times last night when Rupp goes out there, quick trip to the mound. Also Galvis, the shortstop, coming in. And these Phillies starters that we saw last night, Nolan and Morgan, they don't have a lot of major league starts. Just getting their feet wet, more or less.
Got a first inning run on a 2-out hit. They got a second inning run on a 2-out hit. See if Mauer can follow suit here with a 4th inning RBI hit. On the outside corner. Mauer singled and scored in the first inning. Tapped up the right side, a weird hop, and Joseph was able to stay with it. And the Twins get a couple of hits and leave 2 men aboard. We move to the 5th, tied at 2.
Ball game time to step into the Minnesota State Lottery winner circle. 100 scratch-off tickets for a mom and dad working really hard for the birthday boy Nathan. We got Ben and Laura here from Forest Lake. What a birthday for the 5-year-old. After the little weather delay, perfect night. We got the downtown area behind. We got a great ball game. What do you think?
It's an amazing night for Minnesota Twins baseball. Nathan's 5th birthday, having a great night.
And he's a T-ball player out in Forest Lake, and this is not his first game.
No, we come every summer, really enjoy watching the Twins, and what a chance to be out here live under the stars tonight.
Ground ball to second as we'll wrap it up, but Burke gets to circle him on his birthday. Mom and dad get some lottery tickets from the Minnesota State Lottery. Guys, everybody wins.
Happy birthday, young man, and you are hereby circled.
And a very quick first out of the 5th for Kyle Gibson. He'll take that gift as well. Here's Peter Borges.
Yeah, he needs an inning like he had in the 4th when he threw only 12 pitches. Right now, 70 pitches for Gibson.
Borges had a long at bat and ended up grounding out to Dozier. Missing the inside corner, ball 1. On the ground and under the glove of Escobar. Borges is aboard with a 1-out single.
Yeah, I think that ball got to Escobar a little quicker than he anticipated. Borges hitting that ball extremely hard. Right underneath the glove of Escobar. So Borges gets his first hit, 4th hit off of Gibson for the Phillies. Couple singles, couple home runs.
Herrera with a nubber in front of the plate. Gibson threw him out in the 1st. Then he hit a fly ball to Grossman. And Borges back to the bag. Phillies stole a base on Gibson. Galvis stole second in the 2nd inning.
Borges good speed, but over his career not very good as far as stealing bases. 4 stolen bases this year in 7 attempts. And over his career, you see 59. He's also been caught 27 times.
Herrera with a nice bunt. And that ball will stay in the grass. Just trickle off the grass onto the dirt. It's a bunt single for Herrera. Very nicely placed bunt. 1st and 2nd, 1 down.
Yeah, really nothing the Twins can do. There are certain bunts you'll hope that they roll foul, but the grass kind of deadened that ball. You watch the spin of the ball. Nunez knows he can't get it, so you're hoping that the ball keeps rolling a little quicker, but the grass slowed it up. So Herrera at first base. Borges stops at second.
And now Blanco hit a home run his last time up, just over the wall in right center field. Ball 1. Phillies have come back on the Twins twice already tonight and looking now to take their first lead.
Well, that's where you got to trust that 2-seamer down and away. Get a ground ball. Maybe turn a double play like that right there.
Taken for ball 2.
Yeah, not missing by much. Gibson's had 4 double plays turned behind him. 2 of them in his last start against the Yankees.
That's flared to left. 2-1. Most of the outs the last couple innings have come on fly balls. just off the tip of Dozier's glove, and then off the glove of Kepler in right field. Borges will score. Rounding third, Herrera's coming in, and he'll score. And all the way to third base is Blanco. That ball just looked like it got the tip of Dozier's glove and then kicked off of Kepler's glove in the gap.
Well, we'll see how they rule it. But my goodness, Blanco put a good swing on this. See, he wants that ball down and away, and it came right back over the plate. Dozier leaps high. He can't get it.
Never touched it.
And that ball scoots on Kepler. A little bad hop right at the last second, and got behind him. So it'll be an air charge to Kepler on a single with no runs batted in, no RBIs for Blanco.
Infield in with one out, and Franco at the plate. And up and away, 2-0. This is not the quick inning that Gibson was hoping for, with 3 straight hits. Now falling behind the number 3 batter. '80th pitch of the evening, and it's not close. Howard on deck.
Well, the second inning he needed 24. Then he had the quick 4th.
Something incomprehensible 5 years ago, that anyone would be intentionally walked in front of Howard. But with the count 3-0, the Twins will send Franco to first and take their chances with Howard.
Hoping he does what he did to end the first inning, hit a ground ball to second.
Or what he did to end the third inning. Strike out, swinging. Joseph has struck out twice against Gibson. He's in the on-deck circle.
Howard has hit into 3 double plays.
And a line drive base hit to center. Blanco will score, and the Phillies lead by 3.
Yeah, you can see that Gibson has not hit his spots. That pitch right down the heart of the plate. And Howard picks up an RBI, his 22nd of the year. As the Phillies put one of those crooked numbers on the board. At the location right down the middle, pretty much. And that sink is no longer there for Gibson.
7 hits now for the Phillies, and 4 of them here in the 5th inning. And Joseph will hit next. Joseph with a home run last night, but Gibson has struck him out twice on breaking balls here tonight.
He struck him out last time up with 3 straight sliders.
Fastball down and in, and a foul ball, 1 strike. Neil Ramirez warming up in the 5th. Chop toward third, and Nunez steps on the bag, fires across, double play. But the Phillies strike for 3 and take a 5-2 lead. See fans of the game watching the game they intended to see start at 7:10. It got started at 8:20. And a lot of baseball left to play with the Twins now down by 3 runs. And Robbie Grossman will lead things off. Strike 1. Last night the Twins came back from 2 runs down in the 4th inning to take the lead, as it turned out for good. That's to right, and that'll die in front of Borges, and Grossman has his second hit tonight. We'll bring up Dozier. Dozier's hit the ball hard twice here tonight, lining out to left and then doubling to right center.
Kind of an inside-out swing right there by Grossman, picking up a hit. One
for 2, and the average up to 246.
The Twins have out-hit the Phillies 8-7, but the Phillies with that 3-run lead.
Over the inside corner, strike 1.
The 3 runs in the top of the inning, 2 earned runs off of Kyle Gibson.
Reliever's getting loose out in the bullpen. Looks like the Twins are going to send Gibson out for the 6th. Outside now, 1-1.
Gibson at 84 pitches, 54 strikes.
Morgan pitching with a lead. He'd like to end a personal 6-game losing streak. He won his first decision, now has lost 6 straight. You got to get through the 5th inning to even have a chance at that.
Well, one thing he hasn't had, even though he's 0-6 in his last 7 starts at ERA over 6, is a lot of run support.
Right.
He received a total of 6 runs of support over his last 7 starts. So this is like probably Christmas to him right now, with 5 runs put on the board.
And an awful lot of attention paid to Grossman. And ball 2 taken just off the outside edge. Pitching with a 3-run lead, but Morgan's got to pitch through the middle of the Twins lineup. Dozier's been really good against lefties and has already hit him hard twice tonight. A high fly to left.
That baby was up there.
Ashley with a long wait and the catch, 1 away. And now Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe with an RBI single his first time up. Then he hit a ground ball to short, hit it fairly hard. He was in front of Dozier. Brian got trapped off second base. And Plouffe reached on a fielder's choice.
About time for Trevor to hit a home run here.
Sounds suspiciously like a call.
Kind of feel it. We don't make a call every night. Sometimes it's in your gut. You just feel it. A lot of other things in my gut too.
That one hit down the line on a fair ball into the corner. It hits the diagonal wall. Running to third. Grossman will be held, and Plouffe to second with a double.
Oh, good at bat, a half a home run. Plouffe picking up his 9th double. Looks like he went down and got that breaking ball and pulled it down that left field line. Take a look at the pitch. Something off speed, maybe a changeup. Remember, keeping those hands back nice. And it goes down and hits it down that left field corner. It's off the wall, kind of slows it up a little bit.
Escobar is 0 for 2. Struck out on a check swing with 2 men in scoring position in the first, and then popped up to Blanco to end the third. Up high, ball 1.
The Twins need a good at bat right here from Escobar.
Phillies playing the infield back. They'll give up 1 to try to save 2. One and 1. Two hits in the inning. Grossman single, and Plouffe double. Driven to right.
Get over his head.
Borges can't make the play. Grossman will score. Plouffe will score. Escobar rounding second, and he'll get third base. And the third baseman, Franco, retrieves an errant throw. And it's 5-4. That's similar to the play in center field yesterday, where the center fielder Herrera went back and had it bounce off his glove.
Well, I saw Borges freeze right there at the split second, and that ball was hit hard. And by the time he reacted, he could not get back quick enough. So Escobar has a good at bat. It's a 2-run triple for Escobar. Watch Borges right here, top of your screen. He kind of went in, and then by that time, it was too late. His first step was in.
Borges not happy. Middle infield back, tying run at third. Kepler at the plate. Kepler swings and misses. A strikeout in the second against Morgan, and then a warning track fly ball to center in the fourth.
A triple by Escobar, his second triple of the year.
One and one, and a big situation, of course, for Kepler. Twins have a chance to get the game tied up right after the Phillies scored 3 in the top of this inning. Two and one.
Well, it's sad to say we have seen this on our side too. You know, the opponent. Twins get a 3-run on the board. Opponents come back right away.
Kepler ties it with a single up the middle. And it's 5 apiece with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Kepler picking up his 11th RBI. And the Twins do fight back and put their own crooked number 3 on the board. Fastball. Outer half of the plate. Kepler taking it right back up the middle. High chopper over the mound. Into center field. So Escobar scores the 3rd run of the inning. Bob McClure, the pitching coach, out to talk to his lefty.
In yesterday's game, the Phillies had taken a 6-4 lead, and in the next half inning, the Twins scored 4 more. Turns out that was the only lead the Phillies would have, and pretty much the same thing has happened here in the 5th inning. Score 3 should take control of the game for more than a half an inning. Kepler aboard as the lead runner. Still only 1 out, and Suzuki at the plate. Suzuki singled sharply to right his last time up, and he averaged up to 268. Inside, ball 1. deep foul. 1-1. Davis coaching up Max Kepler at first base. And Suzuki swing and a miss.
Yeah, change up right there, Kurt, a little out front.
Up right down the middle. One and two to the Twins catcher. Another changeup missing. 2-2. Buxton on deck. Have scored or had a runner in scoring position in every inning against Morgan. That is a foul ball. Says third base umpire Jerry Davis.
And that's what you want that third base umpire to do, is scream it out, because Franco is ready to throw to second base. But the crew chief, Jerry Davis, a veteran, called it quickly.
Looking through life through rose-colored glasses. Two and two to Kurt Suzuki. Down and away, 3-2. Morgan laboring, and it hasn't been a labor of love for Pete McCann. He was hoping to have a much better inning from his pitcher, who'd just been handed a 3-run lead.
Let's see if Kepler takes off here.
He does not. The pitch hit foul. Bottom of the fifth, because we got started an hour and 10 minutes late, and we've already had 10 runs and 18 hits put up by the two teams as well. Swing and a miss, and Suzuki, I think, is claiming that he hit the ball foul into the dirt. Instead, he strikes out, but Kepler steals second base. Suzuki looking into the dugout as if, hey, didn't you see me foul it into the dirt?
Kurt just kind of going back to home plate right now. Did he get a piece of it?
It looked like Rupp caught it anyway, even if he did. And then he fell across the plate. I don't know that he saw or that he made contact, but it looked like Rupp caught it cleanly anyway.
Now see if Rupp's smart right there. He makes contact with Suzuki.
So a stolen base for Kepler. 2 down, and here's Buxton. A walk and a run scored and a single. Slider down and in, and a swing and a miss.
With that strikeout of Suzuki, that's the third strikeout for Adam Morgan.
Drew Bailey getting loose in the Philly bullpen. Rupp's doing a nice job trying to scoop out these pitches in the dirt, and pretty active back there with Morgan struggling. 90th pitch of the ball game for Morgan. Austin's had a couple of good plate appearances with the walk and the single. A breaking ball down and in. That's the pitch that Byron's really had a tough time with against lefties. That he's seen it twice already in this at bat would probably tell you he'll see it again.
Well, he got a breaking ball in his last at bat, but it was out over the plate a little bit, and the base hit he hit to in between third and short. That one down and in. Like that.
Got a piece of it. Trying to get his fellow rookie in from second base with the go-ahead run. Fastball inside. Buxton laid off 2-2. Nunez hoping for a chance here in the 5th inning. Changeup misses outside, and it's a full count.
A good take right there by Buxton. Just a bit outside.
A bouncer over Gene Glenn's head. We said it during last night's telecast. There was no pace to the game. Neither starting pitcher, none of the relievers could get into any kind of a rhythm, and the same is true again here tonight.
Well, there was only in what, 9-inning game. There's only one 1-2-3 inning in last night's game.
That was Michael Tonkin, and then he got hit hard in the 8th.
There's only been one so far here tonight, a 1-2-3 inning.
Another 3-2 to Buxton.
That was Gibson in the 4th.
Another foul ball.
And Morgan throwing a lot of pitches, 32 pitches so far this inning. This will be number 32.
And number 96 in the game.
Three shakeoffs.
Driven to right center field. Borges to the gap. Makes a running catch. Great at bat for Buxton. No payoff at the end, but the Twins do tie it up in the 5th. Pretty active out in right field. Kepler's had a misplay. Borges has had a misplay. And we head to the 6th, tied at 5. experience an award-winning and diverse landscape in each golf course you visit. Whichever course you choose, get a new personality and challenge awaits. A handful of Minnesota courses were designed by some of the nation's top golf architects. And it says here, Bert Blyleven, that the season runs as long as 6 months out of the year. Find endless ideas for the perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com. Now, I can tell you firsthand that the golf season at times will run 10 months out of the year. There were people playing golf here in December this past year.
I remember when I lived here back in the 70s, I played in December.
Chopper to third, foul. Now there's no vegetation on the course, and it'll be, the grass will be brown.
All you have to do is hit the ball right down the middle and watch it fly.
It skips forever. Yeah.
I hit a 500-yard drive on a par 3. Not good.
2 strike. And Gibson starts the 6th with a strikeout.
Well, he needs a good inning right here. Little redeemer for Gibson. He gave up 3 runs, 2 earned runs in the top of the inning, but his offense picked them up and tied the game at 5 apiece. Gibson picking up his 4th strikeout.
Ashe will hit. See, with the strategy, when I was in high school and picked up golf and tried to play golf in March, there's a ball shot by a diving Mauer and into the right field corner. Ashe hit the ball hard his last time up. Now the ball lingering in the corner a little bit, but Ashe will stop at second with a double.
You know, Kyle just leaving some pitches up. I mean, take a look at this pitch right there, right down the middle of the plate. Ashley hitting this ball sharply. He picked up 3 hits in last night's ball game, a couple singles and a double, and he picks up a double here with 1 out. His 6th double of the year.
Freddie Galvis will bat.
Actually, on the off day Monday, I did a corporate thing for the Twins, and we played TPC. What a
very nice course.
Very, very nice. Yep.
Galvis with a single and 2 trips today. You know, the strategy back then was you play golf early in the season. Well, you didn't take your good golf balls. You had the ones that maybe put a smile or 2 into the year before. They don't even do that anymore. You don't see golf balls with smiles in them anymore.
No, you get rid of them. They're called OPs, other people's, that you find somewhere.
No, but I mean, the golf ball technology is such where, you know, you don't cut golf balls anymore.
You don't?
I don't. 2-0 to the number 8 batter.
You have to swing harder.
And what they need to do is change the texture on the golf carts. So when you hit a golf ball and it hits the golf cart, it doesn't scrape the ball up. You have a smoother surface.
Or the cart path, yeah.
Galvis singled, stole second in the 2nd, and bounced to second in the 5th. So trying to pitch around the 1-out double and keep this a tie game. And now 2-2.
Oh, this is game number 39 here at Target Field for the Twins, and the starters have really struggled here. They are combined coming into tonight's play. Their first 38 games, 3-18, with an ERA at 5.98.
Oh my goodness. Strike 3. Suzuki with a flip to first, 2 down.
And the 2nd strikeout of the inning for Gibson is 5th. Galvis going after that slider down and in. Good job by Suzuki getting it on that 1 hop.
And now Borges will hit 1 for 2 on the night. Borges' average climbing after a very slow start. Missing the inside corner, ball 1. Five runs for the Phillies, 4 earned runs against Gibson, trying to complete the 6th inning. And now 1-1.
There has been a scoring change if you're keeping score at home. Blanco's single that Kepler made the error. We said no run batted in. It is a single with 1 run batted in.
Okay.
That in the 5th inning.
Gibson falls behind 2-1. Gibson at one point with Rogers warming up. He'd retired 6 men in a row. Last 2 men of the 3rd, a 1-2-3 4th, and Galvis leading off the 5th. Out in front of the breaking ball.
A good slider right there, down and away. I think what we've seen here tonight, again, Gibson, the inconsistency and the high pitch count in a short amount of time. Trying to get the final out in less than just 100 pitches in 6 innings.
Back to the mound, and Gibson has an easy play. And he pitches around that 1-out double, and we are still tied at 5. See if the Twins can get some runs here in the bottom of the inning. Maybe get Kyle Gibson his first win. Time now for our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. We look at the league leaders in both the American League and National League in strikeouts. And a couple of left-handers there. David Price in the American League and the incomparable Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, he's nasty. Well, here's Andrew Bailey. First one out of the bullpen for the Phillies. Adam Morgan worked the first 5 innings. Gave up 11 hits and the 5 runs.
Eduardo Nunez will lead things off in the 6th.
Bailey, 32 years old in his first season with the Phillies, making his 25th relief appearance.
There's a nice bunt, hard to Franco, barehanding it, firing and making a good play. The bunt just a little bit too hard, but we saw Franco charge the ball aggressively and turn it into an out.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason he feels comfortable playing back. This a little softer. Nunez gets a base hit. You can see the roll on it. Nice play by Franco, grabbing that ball and then all in one motion, planting that weight on that right foot. Has something on the throw over to Joseph. Nice defensive play by Franco.
One down, and now Mauer. Mauer with a single and a run scored in the first, a fly ball to left and a ground ball to first. Low, ball one. To me, that's one of the prettiest plays in baseball. To watch a third baseman charge and the upper torso horizontal to the ground perhaps, and to be able to get enough on the throw to get a speedy runner. 2 hops and an easy play for Joseph. 2 down. That'll bring up Grossman. Middle of July, July 16th and 17th. It's Twins Hall of Fame weekend. And the induction celebrations of Twins legend Torrey Hunter and radio broadcaster John Gordon. You can reserve your tickets today at www.twinsbaseball.com. Here's Grossman, 2 hits as a right-handed batter. And the batting average back over 300.
Andrew Bailey, a pretty good story. When he first came up with the Oakland A's, he instantly became the closer. And then he had some arm injuries that set him back. He's American League Rookie of the Year back in 2009 when he saved 26 games for the A's. 2-time All-Star. But he's had numerous surgeries. Tommy John surgery, right elbow to remove some bone chips, right thumb surgery, right shoulder surgery.
Fastball on a strike, 1-1. Another fastball, strike 2.
Now, Bailey's always had a good fastball, also a very good curveball.
See Grossman taking back-to-back fastballs very often. And a curve spun back to the screen.
He's got that tight rotation. That curveball left up a little bit. Bailey started the season in the minor leagues, AAA, then called up on April 20th. Signing a minor league contract with the Phillies.
There's a medical issue, and we've seen Bailey grimace a time or two, and it drew the attention of Pete McCannon and the trainer and the second baseman Blanco, but he said, no, I'm fine.
As I mentioned, he's had the Tommy John right elbow surgery, moved chips, shoulder surgery, thumb surgery.
And he goes back to the fastball and strikes out Grossman and has a 1-2-3 6th inning. For the tarp to get pulled off the field and the game to be started. Carsoup.com trivia question. I think it's Kurt Suzuki. He passed Shane Victorino last night. 495 runs batted in, and I would have had Victorino with more runs batted in than that. He was a productive hitter for the Phillies for a lot of years, and then with the Red Sox as well.
Well, congratulations to Kurt Suzuki.
You've been to Hawaii, haven't you?
Yes.
How many times?
Only a couple. Long time ago. How about yourself?
Haven't been there yet.
No.
Taylor Rogers threw 14 pitches in an inning last night, and he's fresh enough to come back again tonight.
Yeah, shutout inning. Not too many pitchers did that last night. Now Rogers making his 18th relief appearance. He's done a good job out of that bullpen.
Facing Herrera and Blanco, Franco, and then if somebody else reaches, Howard, a left-handed batter, would hit 4. Down and in, ball 1. Thompson went 6 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, and then 1 unearned run as well. 1-0 to Herrera.
That ball hit the bat of Herrera.
It's the second time.
Yeah.
One and one. Two and one. Right off the knob of the bat. On the outside corner. With Blanco on deck. Breaking ball. Still 2-2.
Yeah, good fastball. What we've seen from Rogers, good fastball, good control of that fastball, and then the big breaking ball. He's walked only 3 batters in 18 2/3 innings. Does have 17 strikeouts. Did that one bad outing in Anaheim where he gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning.
And another foul.
Rogers just 25 years old, signed by the Twins in 2012 out of the University of Kentucky.
High fly center field, playable for Buxton. 1 away. Follow Twins Baseball Live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at-bat to feature the Twins. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Here's Blanco. Hit a home run in the 3rd inning into the or over the high wall in right center field. If anything, he hit his single in the 5th even harder. A rocket just out of the reach of Dozier, and it skipped a couple times, kicked off of Kepler's glove for an error. 1-1 to Blanco. Another base hit. Blanco aboard with a 1-out single.
As a right-handed hitter, he came in hitting just 176, but went down and got that breaking ball. Picks up his 3rd hit of the ballgame.
Now Franco. Franco walked in the 1st. Dozier made a nice play on him in the 3rd, and then after Gibson fell behind 3-0, they ended up intentionally walking Franco to get to Howard, who singled in a run on the next pitch. Fouled away, 1 strike.
Now Rogers faced Franco last night. He hit a ground ball to third, the final out in the 6th inning. Twins will take another ground ball to Nunez. Maybe turn a double play.
Snap bat and a bouncer to second. And Dozier will get the sure out at first. So slowly he couldn't take the risk of getting the lead runner. 2 down.
That bat just came apart. Ball boy picking up some splinters. They should make more bats like that.
Awful sound. 2 down. And Howard will hit. Single to center and drove in a run his last time up.
He jumped on that first fastball from Gibson and drove in that run in the 3-run 5th inning.
Takes a breaking ball off the plate.
David Hernandez, who worked in last night's ball game, up in the Phillies bullpen.
Way out in front of a slower breaking ball. Howard able to play here in this series because of the presence of the designated hitter. I mentioned the Phillies go to San Francisco later. Howard will be put back on the bench, one would think. Big pop up near second base. And Escobar makes the catch, and it's a scoreless 7th for Rogers. Of the game.
Twins scored 1 in the bottom of the 1st inning, but Rupp hit a home run in the 2nd to tie it. Nunez gets a base hit that scores Buxton, gives the Twins a 2-1 lead. But here come the Phillies. Blanco with a home run, his 2nd of the year. And then the 5th inning off of Kyle Gibson, where they got 4 hits, 3 runs. The biggest hit off the bat of Blanco that was misplayed by Kepler. And then Howard driving in the 3rd run of the inning. But here come the Twins. Escobar, after kind of the boxed up type play out in right field by Borges, and then Escobar getting a couple runs on that triple, and then Kepler knocking him in. We're tied at 5 apiece.
Middle of the Twins lineup, Dozier, Plouffe, and Escobar will face Hernandez here in the Twins 7th. Up and away, ball 1.
Now, Hernandez worked in last night's ball game. He worked the 8th inning. He gave up 3 runs on 3 hits, an intentional walk for the strikeout. He threw 32 pitches, 21 for strikes.
And Dozier takes one over the inside corner, 1-1. Again, an off-speed pitch over the inside corner, 1-2.
Now Hernandez in his first season with the Phillies came up with the Orioles basically as a starter, went to Arizona and signed as a free agent over the winter.
Breaking ball, swing and a miss, down. The Philly bullpen so far, 4 up, 4 down, with a couple of strikeouts and nothing hit out of the infield. Trevor Plouffe.
Oh, good breaking ball right here. Ball just kept working its way away from the swing of Dozier.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Plouffe with a couple of hits. And the average up to 250. At the knees with a fastball. On the outside corner, a fastball for a called strike. Look at the numbers, and they're almost identical to what he put up last year.
Yeah, he went through the Tommy John surgery back in March of 2014. Last year was kind of a rehab year for him, starting late after the surgery.
1-2.
Missed all of the 2014 season, as I mentioned.
Two and two. Everything in baseball scheduled today finished except for the game at Dodger Stadium. Nationals and Dodgers tied at 2 in the 4th inning. Plouffe trying to get a board for Escobar. Called to the backstop.
Well, that's one good thing about it. We should start at 8:30 all the time. You know, that way we get to know what everybody else has done before we're done.
What a great idea. You know, 22 years you've come up with some great ideas, and that might have been the worst idea you've ever come up with in your life.
Yeah, but we know every score, who won and lost up until except the Dodgers.
2-2.
And they're playing the Nationals.
3-2. Well, it wasn't that long ago. Baseball games, I think, did start at 8 o'clock, but the games only lasted 2 hours back then. Then it was 7:30 and then 7 as the games have become longer.
So you're thinking 6 o'clock?
Noon game tomorrow. And then the Twins fly to New York. And the Phillies go to San Francisco. Twins have a night game Friday, day game Saturday, day game Sunday, then an off day Monday in Chicago. Drilled to center.
Wow.
Trevor can't hit the ball any harder than he just did. A good at bat and a 1-out single.
Yeah, 3rd hit of the ball game for Trevor Plouffe, so good to see. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Escobar hit the liner that cleared Borges's glove in the 5th inning, and then scored himself to tie the game.
Good to see Trevor have 4 really good at bats. Even that ball that he hit, that Dozier got picked off at second base, he hit that ball hard.
Belt high strike. Oh, 1. Oh, 2.
Escobar pinch hit for Park in the 8th inning against Hernandez and picked up the RBI single last night in that 3-run 8th inning.
Park on the bench along with Centeno and Santana. This is just the 7th inning. We might see Santana come into the ball game, say for pinch running purposes if the situation were right.
We saw Ryan Presley. He was up last inning, so he should be loose, ready to come in. Pitch the 8th inning.
2-2. Excuse me, 1-2. There's the Twins bench, at least most of it.
Plouffe at first base. You saw the throw over there. He has 1 stolen base in his only attempt.
Escobar with another base hit to right. Plouffe will round second and go to third. Escobar continues to swing the bat well with 2 more hits here tonight.
You know, and you look at where these pitches are. They're always down almost to his ankle. But he almost likes that ball down there where he can kind of golf it all over the field. Take a look at this breaking ball right here. That stayed up a little bit, but lower part of the strike zone. Good swing. Escobar pulling that ball into right field, and that does allow Plouffe to go from first to third. So Escobar gets his 2nd hit of the ball game.
Kepler at the plate. He tied the game with his single up the middle in the 5th. Now he has a chance to put the Twins in front. Field setting up for what they hope will be a double play. Kepler hoping to drive the ball to the outfield. To left. Plouffe setting up for a tag. Ashe with the catch and the throw. Airmailed home. And Plouffe will score, and Escobar goes to second. The run was going to score. The throw should have gone to second base. And the Twins take the lead. Another good plate appearance by Kepler.
Yeah, another mistake by the defense of the Phillies. Ashley just airmailing that ball. If anything, you'd throw it on a line to your third baseman. And that might keep Escobar at first base. But Kepler picks up his 2nd RBI of the ball game. And see Franco leaping, no chance, as Trevor Plouffe slides across home plate.
Twins in front now. Suzuki with a man in scoring position and 2 down. Swing and a miss. Suzuki struck out in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3 in the ball game here tonight. And now 1-1. With a good night with men in scoring position. Not a hit for Kepler, but he did what he needed to do to get the Twins the go-ahead run. Two and one. Got a pitch up and fouled it back, fouled it off the mask. It sounded like the mask of Carlos Torres. And really swinging it well with 3 home runs. Three and 2 with Buxton on deck. No activity in the Philly pen.
Now you have a guy swinging a hot bat. 3-2. You have first base open. See what they throw Suzuki with Buxton on deck.
took ball 4.
They missed with a breaking ball.
Buxton's had an encouraging night at the plate. Drew a 2-out walk, ended up scoring in the second, then a single and a liner to right.
Yeah, I kind of knew there wasn't going to be a fastball. You can see that curveball just missing down and away. You know, they do a lot of this in the National League. Usually that 9 spot is the pitcher, so it's a lot of times that guy in the 8th spot.
Right.
You know, you're going to kind of be very careful with him. It took me a while to learn that when I went from the American League to the Pittsburgh Pirates. You forget sometimes that that pitcher hits in the National League.
Fastball on the outside corner. Strike 2, another fastball at the belt, and it's 0-2. Buxton in the 4th and 5th inning fell behind early and had a productive at bat, at least in terms of a base hit in the 4th, and then really hit the ball hard after falling behind quickly in the 5th. Here a breaking ball gets him to swing and miss. The Twins get the go-ahead run at 6-5 as we go to the 8th.
Mall of America Studio Sports Update. Midday Baseball returns to Fox Sports North. Join us at 11:30. Pregame coverage begins at Thursday on Fox Sports North as we get you ready for the Twins and the Phillies. And now back to Target Field.
And it'll be Ricky Nolasco going for the Twins against Jared Eichhoff of the Phillies. Here in the 8th inning, Ryan Presley asking to hold a 1-run lead.
You know what the Twins did, and I think it was good, kind of gave Presley some time off. You know, he worked a couple times in Anaheim, worked only once in that 4-game series against the Yankees. Now he's making his 35th relief appearance. Still the most of anybody out of that bullpen. And he's done well. 37 strikeouts in 37 2/3 innings. Walks are a little high with 15. He's allowed 5 home runs.
Fastball is up 95 miles per hour as the Twins are fielding a team and looking for pitchers in particular, but position players too, to go to the next level and have a more competitive season. I think Presley's at the very top of the list. Here's a ball hit to right. Kepler back, feeling for the wall, making the catch, 1 away. Fox Sports North and the Minnesota Wild are celebrating hockey this summer at the Minnesota Wild Summer Bash, an NHL entry draft viewing party Coming up on Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. at XL Energy Center. It's free. It's the biggest hockey bash of the summer. Interactive games, photo and autograph opportunities from wild players, NHL alumni, and more. Visit foxsportsnorth.com and click on upcoming events. Being mindful that last year Presley really had a scary injury. It was a tear of the lat muscle. Here's a ball lined to right. Kepler with a diving catch in right field.
The concentration sometimes outfielders have to have when that ball first is off the bat of the hitter is unbelievable. And Kepler really got a good jump, good read on that, a nice diving catch. Remember the last one took him to the base of the wall. Right here he comes charging in and makes a nice sliding catch. Good concentration, ball right into the middle of the glove.
And a little tip of the cap. But we've seen Presley with, really good stuff. Mid-90s fastball, a breaking ball. It's a big swing and miss pitch for him. A little quick trip to the mound by Kurt Suzuki, and now a more meaningful trip to the mound by Paul Molitor. In a one-run ball game, he's going to bring, presumably it's Fernando Abad who is warming up, and Presley got the job done with 2 quick outs in the 8th.
On 3 pitches. Should have been a reliever.
He did all right as a starter. Will try to get the final out of the 8th inning, protecting a 1-run lead. Twins fans, the 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. You can head to twinsbaseball.com and choose your hashtag ASG worthy stars. Send them to the MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 12th in San Diego. Vote today, vote tomorrow, vote at twinsbaseball.com/vote. Fernando Abad trying to get the final out of the 8th inning.
Yeah, Abad coming off his worst outing as a Minnesota Twin is on last Saturday when he gave up that home run to Gregorius, and then gave up 3 runs, 2 runs after that. He ended up getting a loss in that ball game, 7-6.
Strike 1 to Tyler Goodell.
Goodell pinch hitting for Ashe.
And strike 1, 1-1.
Goodell as a pinch hitter, 0 for 6.
Two and 1. Well, the hope is that Fernando Abad can get through this at bat, get the 3rd out, and we won't see Brandon Kintzler pacing in the dugout between the 8th and 9th inning like we did last night. to deep right center field. Buxton chasing it, going back, leaping and making the catch against the center field fence. Byron Buxton with a great catch to end the inning. First it was Kepler in right field, and then Buxton with a huge catch to end the inning.
Directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll take a look how the offenses have ignited again. These teams combined for 35 runs so far in the first two games of this series. We'll take a look at the production of Trevor Plouffe. He drove in the first run in the first. He scored the go-ahead run in the seventh. He's got 3 hits tonight. We'll bring you inside the manager's office and hear from Paul Molitor. Guys, last night, similar situation. Twins up by 1, bottom of the 8th. We asked for some insurance runs, and we got it. That's what we're looking for again here tonight.
We'll see if Nunez can get something started against Hector Neris.
Neris making his 37th relief appearance in his 3rd season with the Phillies. 27-year-old from the Dominican Republic.
Saw the numbers. The numbers are pretty good. This guy doesn't give up a lot of hits. Goodell staying in the game in left field. And that leaks through Rupp to the backstop. 1-2.
Neris with a good split finger. Opponent's hitting just 197 off of him.
Chopper to short. Galvis sets and fires one away. Twins will get good again. They have a lot of different areas to improve upon, but we've already seen an improved outfield defense, and boy, did it ever play a big part of the top of this inning.
Watch Buxton leap right there and kind of grimace a little bit because he knew he was going to make contact with the wall. What a great catch, utilizing his speed and the leaping ability to come down with that long fly ball out.
1 down. Mauer, the hitter. Joe singled his first time up. Since then, 0 for 3. One and 0.
Yeah, we saw Andrew Bailey kind of leave the ball game after the 3rd out. He wanted to stay in there. They diagnosed him with a mild left hamstring strain, and he'll be evaluated tomorrow. And he's listed
week to week,
day to day.
Day to day.
Yep.
Pretty serious then. 1-1. One would think, though, realistically, his chances of contributing tomorrow would be very good if he strained a hamstring tonight.
Right.
1-1 to Mauer. Chopper to short. Another easy play for Galvis. 2 down. We'll bring up Robbie Grossman. No activity in the Twins pen, so it looks like tonight it might be Fernando Abad asked to give the Twins a 4-out save. Just assume that Kinsler, who didn't throw that many pitches, but he pitched in parts of 2 different innings, and it might be Abad asked to get the final 3 outs of the 9th inning. Grossman with 2 hits. Strike 1. Out in front. 0-2.
Well, that split finger, good changeup. A little movement on it.
A good idea if he can to make Neris work a little bit here. Maybe take him out of the mix for tomorrow's afternoon game. He's only thrown 9 pitches. Quick work of the Twins here. A couple of ground balls and a strikeout. And the Twins will try to protect a 1-run lead. Pick up their 3rd win in a row. Another encouraging game for Max Kepler. He tied the game with a base hit, put the Twins in front with a fly ball, just made a nice catch in the 8th inning. And now we move to the 9th. And Abad starts Galvis with strike 1. Galvis, Borges, and Herrera due up for the Phillies. Chopper to short. Escobar, a head high hop, 1 down. What's next? A quick turnaround with a day game after a night game. And maybe the Twins will be in position to pick up a 3-game sweep. We'll see. Ricky Nolasco hoping to even his mark at 4-4.
Yeah, they say that Eichhoff has a very, very good curveball, so looking forward to watching him pitch tomorrow.
1 down, and now Borges. Borges 1 for 3, a single and a run scored. Obviously, the Twins have had to scramble a bit to closed down games, and they haven't had as many opportunities as they would like. But this is an atypical situation when Paul Molitor said, hey, look, it might be Brandon Kinsler one night, might be Fernando Abad the next. That's how it's played out. But in each case, pitcher asked to get 4 outs rather than 3.
Now Kinsler picked up his first major league save a little while ago. Abad has never had a save in the big leagues.
Right on the outside corner, 1-1. Abad, of course, very good against lefties, although they too have picked up a few hits lately against him, but giving up a nearly 300 batting average to right-handed batters. And Kinsler, in case there is a need, getting loose. 2-1. A high fly to left field, playable for Grossman. In fact, it's the shortstop Escobar making the catch. 2 down.
Yeah, good changeup right there. Borges way out front, creating that pop-up. So 2 quick outs for Abad here. After a couple fastballs, he just pulled the string. Actually, that's a big breaking ball right there. Borges way out front with a 2nd out.
And now Herrera. Abad's gotten 3 outs on 10 pitches. Twins bullpen has been nearly perfect here in relief of Gibson. Rogers gave up a 1-out single, but that's been it. Down and away, ball 1.
Abad with the Astros, also the Oakland A's. Never picked up a save, has some minor league saves, only 13.
And a strike over the inside corner. Last one came back in 2012. Chopper to Escobar. Abad gets his first major league save, and the Twins have won 3 in a row at home.
Another offensive night. Some key hits for the Twins, especially Escobar in that 3-run 5th inning that tied it. And then the big hit off the sacrifice fly by Max Kepler. The go-ahead run.
And Tom Hanneman, for a night at least, a glimpse of what we had last year. Some clutch hitting for the Twins, some really good outfield defense, and it all added up to a 1-run win.
Couldn't agree more, Dick. The Twins unleash the Hounds here at home again tonight. They take the series with a 6-5 win. Up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll break down Minnesota's offense, Trevor Plouffe production. We'll hear from Paul Molitor, and we'll preview tomorrow afternoon's homestand finale.